Alright, first off, sorry it took so long to record this video. Secondly, hopefully the information in this video helps you, the viewer, self-identify cheaters among streamers who claim to be the best of the best. I spent a few weeks researching aimbot software for Warzone, and in the process I spoke with one avid user who said that one particular aimbot was extremely easy to use. Oddly enough, I came across a private coder in the process who said they'd make me one that was permanent and undetectable by any software and one-time payment of around $1,200 to $1,500 and a few days to make. That being said, the same person that was offering to make me a cheat said that if I wasn't in it for that much, their recommendation would be the same application that the other person I know of was using, which is engine owning, and said that it's not only one of the easiest to use, it's also one of the most fine-tuned ones. So, with this information, I figured I'd get to testing, and now that I had it narrowed down to one application that was one of the best ones out there. So I used my gaming laptop, I swapped out the RAM, I put the old RAM back in it, and I pulled out both of the M.2s and I put in my travel one. So this way I wouldn't have to catch a hardware ban on my desktop or my wife's PC or my laptop because I changed out enough of the hardware. I also used a miscellaneous phone number to sign up for a new Warzone account so I wouldn't risk getting mine banned. I then proceeded to sign up for engine owning to use for a few days, and once I understood it enough, I decided it was time to unbox the controller and record what would eventually be day one of recording. Initially I was only going to record for just one day, but then I started to put my laptop back together, but I felt it wasn't enough data, so I didn't change it yet, and I went back and recorded some more use of the application to make sure that I had enough data that I could comfortably and confidently give out this information. So after messing with the aimbot software, I devised everything down to what I would consider two different classifications. One I would call strong indicators of the use of an aimbot. The other I would call undeniable indicators of the use of aimbot. With this information, I don't feel anyone needs to immediately go harassing any streamers. Once you've observed these from their stream, it's best to report them to their platform, link a snipped clip of their stream, and link the time in my video, and leave it at that. I don't feel much more needs done beyond that aside from unfollowing them and unsubbing from them. The first group I'll go over are what I would call the strong indicators. The reason I call them strong indicators is because it can be kind of hard to judge these due to stream compression and the fact that you're only seeing it at a max of 60 frames a second at best on their stream. So if you do see what looks to be one of these, then if you watch enough of their new or old streams, you might find a golden nugget. The strong indicators, which are hard to determine given the fact that there's video compression and only 60 frames a second. The first one I would call Jittery Aim. And what this is it's bouncing on and off the player's hitbox, and this generally happens at close range. You're not going to see this at anything from medium to long range. It's generally up close. Um, the next one is observed mainly the complete inverse. So it's like they're looking way out at somebody and they have a nice tight shot group with little to no recoil. And that's almost impossible to do while standing or kneeling with most of the weapons. You're gonna miss some of those shots. But if they're shooting like laser beams at a distance and they're hitting every single shot with almost no recoil, that's a strong indicator. Again, without seeing anything more than 60 frames a second, it's hard to make sure that you're able to see um, any and all shots that are potentially missed or whatnot. The third one and the final one I would say is a strong indicator is what I would call a miss to hit. So you see a player whiffing the first few shots, but then somehow miraculously they start hitting every single shot, and it's either center mass or headshot only. But a few seconds before that, they were shooting wildly. So again, those are hard to judge on a stream at 60 frames a second without actually seeing the game in front of you. So I would call those strong indicators. With these, I would say uh, this would give you a proper indicator to put somebody on your suspect list to watch out for. The last of the two groups are what I would call undeniable indicators of the use of an aimbot. Luckily, from what I've observed, streaming one of these types of indicators makes it more pronounced and obvious to spot. And no, it is not video compression and it is not clip manipulation. It is an abrupt movement that can't be properly captured at 60 frames a second on a stream, thus making it look completely unnatural. The two undeniable indicators of an aimbot would be either a snap onto or a snap off of the player hitbox. A snap onto is when the aimbot abruptly takes control from the player and basically moves their aim over to another spot. See that? The occurrence of this happening is if their controls are fine-tuned within the software, it's going to be harder for this to happen. But it doesn't mean it's not going to ever happen. There are certain conditions in which will make this happen more often, and I don't want to say what they are, so that way it allows cheaters to slip up. The other one on the snap off instance is basically the application as soon as the player is down or dead, the enemy player is down or dead, it abruptly kicks control back to the player, and in that instance, again, there's certain parameters that if they're met, you'll see the player go from shooting center mass to all of a sudden just just throwing rounds down at the ground or off to the side or up in the air. And it's like a few seconds before that, you were hitting every single shot center mass like you had perfect control. But as soon as the player was dead, you just started spraying on the wall behind them, like you're whipping a paintbrush. So those are a snap onto and a snap off of. Again, the first one being where the application steals the control and forcibly moves the aim. The other one is when it relinquishes control back to the player, and we'll just say the player's not ready for it. Again, I don't want to give away too much information as to the exact cause of those two indicators, so it gives you, the viewer, a little more of a chance to eventually catch this and to be able to say, all right, yeah, this person's cheating. I'm done with them. So again, I'm only doing this because I used to really like the game. I never really played Warzone. I played Modern Warfare, and it just it really started irritating the hell out of me. We'll just say that. So if they don't want to go through and implement an anti-cheat, that's fine. I'll go through and test with some software and hardware and see if I can find other ways to find cheaters. One person that I did work with, I'm trying to see if it's possible to write an application that is relatively lightweight and can be ran in the background, and could be put onto a side screen that will basically say um, who has control over the mouse and keyboard inputs, whether it's the human or if another application is taking control of it. But he hasn't gotten back to me yet to tell me if that's doable. So for now, this will be all I have for you. I already have all the stuff in the background that you can't really see what I'm looking at, and I'll get this all put together and have it all clipped up for you. So, all right, deuces.